Sports.
The Patriots and the Giants.
You like football, right? High five, football fan.
I love baseball more than anything.
This is Sports on Super FM, Nigeria's #1 family lifestyle talk and urban radio station.
Super Breakfast Sports. We bring you news of major sporting events from in and around the world. From football,
Balotelli. Aguero. Staggering. Just staggering.
basketball,
When they were Seattle. Stop. 14 from 4. Stop putting Seattle and the Supersonics with the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's different teams.
tennis,
Oh, come on, Rafa Nadal.
Formula One,
It's lights out and away we go. Russell does get away well, as does Max Verstappen. And Valtteri Bottas has got his teammate right alongside him already. Sergio Perez is trying to challenge as George Russell goes into the first 10, and George Russell takes the lead.
boxing,
And he's going for it. Catches Joshua. Wow. Joshua.
and fans, time to rep your favorite teams. Only on Super Breakfast Sports Show. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. Super Breakfast Sports, thrilling, captivating, and electrifying.
Hello there, good morning. Welcome to this thrilling edition of Super Breakfast Sports with me, Mary Che, on your #1 family lifestyle talk and urban radio, Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. Today is Thursday, the 4th day of August 2022. And on the program today, we'll be taking a look at European football and how it affects African football, or so to speak. Because a couple of days ago, SSC Napoli president Aurelio De Laurentiis, he came out in a heavy bus stop. And he was basically saying he would not sign African players who would participate at the AFCON in the middle of the European club football season. That's what we'll be taking a look at on the Breakfast Sports this morning. We will be asking questions to Kenneth, who will be joining us for this discussion this morning, and also to you as well. We'd like to get your thoughts. What do you make of his recent remarks? And do you think, for the good of our players playing their trade in European top clubs, do you think the AFCON should somehow be rescheduled to begin after the end of the European season? Really big discussion there, because it has also drawn reactions from former Napoli man and now Chelsea defender Kalidou Koulibaly. Now, you know the channels via which you can hit us up. You can go on to our Facebook right now at Super FM page, where we're live streaming, to drop your comments. You can also put your phone call through to us when we throw the phone lines open, as well as drop your text messages on WhatsApp. The WhatsApp line for your messages this morning, 0905 948 1021. That's the WhatsApp line, 0905 948 1021. Without wasting any more time, vamos. All right, once again, welcome to Super Breakfast Sports with me, Mary J, on Super 93.3 FM, Port Harcourt. We kick off today's discussion talking about some football on the local front. And there were a flurry of matches played yesterday in the 2021-2022 ITO FA Cup here in Nigeria. And one of the biggest results, the biggest upset, in fact, was the fact that defending champions Bayelsa United were knocked out of the competition by the Army Green Berets yesterday in that fixture. The game ended goalless in regulation time, and it proceeded to penalties, where Green Berets edged out Bayelsa United 5-4 on penalties. Another result in an old NPFL clash, and since after the departure of Bingo Ngupote at Remo Stars, Aqua United, the Promise Keepers, defeated Remo Stars by 3-0. Benden Insurance played out a 1-0 draw with Otasolo in regulation time, but proceeded to win against Otasolo 4-3 on penalties. Same was the result between Wiki Tourist and Kwara United. Wiki Tourist, the victorious team at the end of the day. Regulation time ended in a 1-0 draw, and Wiki Tourist edged Kwara United 4-3 on penalties. Kano Pillars were in rampaging form as they defeated Zamfara United by 5-0. Niger Tornadoes played a goalless draw with Eyimba Football Club of Aba. And Eyimba have been knocked out courtesy of a 6-5 victory for Niger Tornadoes after penalty shootout. Sunshine Stars defeated Rovers FC by 5-1. Lobby Stars 3, Doma United 0, Katsina United 3, Sinojo 1. DMD played out a goalless draw with Housing Corporation and went on to win 4-2 on penalties. Akure City defeated Bendel Insurance Feeders by 2-1. Kogi United played a 2-2 draw with Kanta United and won 5-4 on penalties. Heartland FC and Rangers International FC, the biggest game headlining fixture, the Oriental Derby, ended in a 1-0 draw during regulation time and then proceeded to penalties where Heartland FC won, defeated Enugu Rangers by 8-7 on penalty shootout. And the lengthiest penalty shootout was witnessed when Nasarawa United took on Sokoto United. Regulation time ended 1-0, and it was Nasarawa United emerging victorious after 21 sport kicks were successfully converted, 11-10 in favor of Nasarawa United. El Kaneme Warriors were 1-0 better than Fulfill FC, and Dakada FC were not in action but are safely through to the round of 16. Now let's give you the lineup for the round of 16 fixtures, which will be taking place on Sunday, the 7th of August 2022. Green Berets, who are conquerors of defending champions Bayelsa United, will take on Niger Tornadoes. Lobby Stars will play against Akure City Academy. Heartland FC will play in an all NPFL clash versus Dakada FC. Sunshine Stars versus Katsina United is another one from the NPFL. Aqua United will play versus Kogi United. DMD will take on Kano Pillars. El Kanemi Warriors versus Wiki Tourist, and Bendel Insurance versus Nasarawa United. Little bit of correction there. Heartland FC versus Dakada FC is not an all NPFL clash because Heartland FC have been relegated. Now to some little bit of basketball on the Breakfast Sports this morning. Two-time Nigeria Basketball League champion Swalatom Soso Bob Manuel. Two-time Nigeria Basketball League champion Swalatom Soso Bob Manuel has through his foundation, the SBM Foundation, put together all modalities for hosting what is poised to be a successful second edition of the Future Champions International Basketball Camp. Speaking during a press briefing at the basketball court at number 59 Niger Street, Port Harcourt Township, Rivers State, Soso Bob Manuel stated that the aim of the competition is to give talented kids the opportunity to reach the next level through basketball.
Soso Bob Manuel Foundation has been in existence for about 6 years. We've had a couple of other competitions and camps along the way, but we decided to do something more positive. The aim of this particular camp, which we started last year, is to see how we could give those kids that are talented a chance to use their talents and get to the next level in sports. The reason we chose basketball is because that's the sport I used to play. That's the sport I got my accolades in. That's why we chose basketball for starters.
According to Soso Bob Manuel, since the first edition of the camp, which had close to 100 kids in attendance, the Future Champions International Basketball Camp has grown to the point of attracting interest from international players.
We started this last year, and this is the second edition. As you can see, it's growing, it's getting bigger. Last year, we planned for 100 kids, but we had about 94 kids. This year, we don't think the 150 kids we planned for is going to be enough. I have a kid from Zambia that reached out to me that, please, he wants to be a part of this camp. So it's going far and wide. It's getting bigger than we even envisioned.
He went further to outline the benefits of the camp for the participating kids.
Apart from going home with jerseys and free shoes, you stand to have a chance to play at the highest level. The long-term plans, first off, from the camp is when we finish with this, we plan to see how we can get you to the right coaches. The standout performers are going to have a chance directly to talk to coaches and the rest that can help them get to the next level. When you're sending a coach this video, the coach already knows, okay, this kid is this good. Okay, let's see what he can do. And there's no way you come for a 4-day camp. You won't stand out if you're good enough.
The 4-day camp begins today, Thursday, the 4th of August 2022, and ends on Sunday, the 7th of August 2022, at the basketball court at number 59 Niger Street, Port Harcourt Township, River State, with a host of events lined up for each day.
We have registration, and we're going to go into drills and conditioning from Thursday. Then Friday, Saturday will be intense workouts. Then Sunday is more like a fun time. Sunday is the slam dunk competition, 3-point competition, free throw, and the all-star game on Sunday.
Now, from basketball, let's head on to the United Kingdom in Birmingham, where we have the Commonwealth Games currently ongoing. Now, concerning Team Nigeria at the Commonwealth Games, yesterday, Day 6, Team Nigeria failed to win any medal in Day 6, but put up some good performances from across the events for which they participated in. Grace Nwokocha and Rosemary Chukwuma became the first Nigerian female athletes to qualify for the final of the women's 100 meters since Blessing Okagbare ran a games record of 10.85 seconds to win gold at Hampden Park, Glasgow in 2014. Although the duo of Nwokocha and Chukwuma might not have won any medal in the 100 meters, they had a honorable outing in the final, finishing 4th and 5th in 11.17 seconds and 11.18 seconds, respectively, in what was their first 100-meter final at a major championship. In the men's 100 meters, Nigeria missed out on having an athlete in the final, with Favour Ashi narrowly missing out on a spot by just one place. Ashi had finished 3rd in the semi-final, clocking a time of 10.24 seconds, but it was not good enough as Ghana's Benjamin Azamati grabbed one of the fastest 2 qualification spots with 10.18 seconds in his heat. African high jump silver medalist and former BB Niger housemate Mike Edwards finally got the chance to compete at the Commonwealth Games, and he had a respectable show, finishing 6th after clearing a height of 2.19 meters. He attempted 2.22 meters but failed to clear that height. In the women's shot put final, Annabelle Orobosa got international experience under her belt, competing in the first international championship. The Nigerian champion threw 16.70 meters to finish 9th. All 3 of Nigerian entrants in the men's 400 meters, that's Samson Nathaniel, Dubem Amene, and Adewale Sikiru, qualified for the semi-finals, going out strong in the respective heats to book their spots in the next round, while Patience Okon George continued to ensure Nigeria will have representation in the women's 400-meter semis, qualifying for the semi-finals after running an impressive 52.43 seconds. In table tennis and para-table tennis events, Nigerian players who were at the tables on Day 6 recorded some good wins in their singles group matches to put themselves in a good position going into the next round. Esther Oribamise won 2 matches in Group 3 of the women's singles, beating Vanuatu's Roana Abel 4-0 in the first match. The Nigerian player returned to the table later and secured yet another victory, beating Sadia Rahman from Bangladesh 4-0 as well. Also securing 2 victories each were Nasiru Sule and Iso Ogunkule, who got 2 crucial wins in the men's classes 3-5, Group 1 and Group 2 respectively. Sule opened his account with victory over Canada's Mohamed Modassa, winning the match by 3-0. He followed it up with another victory, beating England's Jack Hunter Spivey 3-2 in a riveting match. Ogunkule on his part followed suit in Group 2, first with a 3-0 win over England's Dan Bull, and then made it 2 wins in 2, beating India's Raj Aravidan Alaga 3-1 to secure his spot in the next round of the para-table tennis competition. And then finally, in women's over 70 to 75 kg middleweight boxing event, Jacinta Umunakwe is at least guaranteed a medal after progressing to the semi-final without even having to fight. Umunakwe was awarded a walkover against Songa's Mele Ula. Now, after Day 6 yesterday comes Day 7, which is today, and there are a list of events for which Team Nigeria athletes will be participating in. We have athletics events and para-athletics events, and we'll see Sade Olatoye compete in the women's hammer throw qualification. We'll also see the trio of Rosemary Chukwuma, Grace Nwokocha, and Favour Ofili participate in the women's 200-meter hits. In the women's high jump qualification, there will be Nigeria flags heralded by Temitope Adesina and Esther Issa. In the men's 200-meter hits, Nigeria will be represented by Emmanuel Ojeli, Udodion Uzirike, Alaba Akintola. While in the women's discus throw, we will have the final of the women's discus throw. That's for the para-athletes. We'll have Goodness Nwachukwu representing Nigeria. There are boxing events to look out for today. Ifeanyi Onyekure will take part in the quarterfinal 2 of the super heavyweight category. And we will see in the featherweight category, the quarterfinal, Elizabeth Oshoba. And then Cynthia Ogunshemilore will take part in the lightweight quarterfinal for athletes within 57 to 60 kilograms. In table tennis, in the women's singles classes, we will have Ife Chukwude Igboyi and Faith Obazwaye representing Nigeria. Chinenye Obiora will represent Nigeria as well in the singles classes. Also, Nasiru Sule and Alabi Olufemi will be taken to the table. Tajuddin Agumbiade, Isho Ogunkule, Amadi Ome, Olajide Omotayo, Bode Abiodun, and Arina Quadri will all be in action as well. Our final story before we get on to our big discussion this morning, still from the Commonwealth Games as it happened yesterday. Jamaica's Elaine Thompson-Herah, the only one of Jamaica's big three women to show up at the Commonwealth Games, was rewarded with a 100 meters gold on Wednesday, while Kenya's Ferdinand Omanyala powered to the men's title. Thompson-Herah, twice the 100 meter and 200 meter sprint champion at the Olympic Games, finished third in last month's World Championship 100 meter final behind Shericka Jackson and Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price. She was originally a reserve for the Commonwealths, but when Fraser-Price opted out, she stepped in, and then she looked a little bit tired after her semi-final, but grabbed the early lead in the final and ran her usual smooth race to finish a comfortable winner on 10.95 seconds. St. Lucia's Julian Alfred was on a shoulder throwout to win silver in 11.01 seconds, while England's Daryl Neta recovered well from a terrible start to grab bronze in 11.07 seconds. In the men's 100 meter, Kenyan's Ferdinand Omanyala, who set an African record of 9.77 seconds last year, served a 14-man doping ban 4 years ago. He failed to make the final at last month's World Championships after arriving in the United States hours before the heats due to visa problems. He was impressive in the semi-finals, and he looked favorite for the finals, which took place yesterday, and duly controlled the final from gun tape, flying out of the blocks and surging clear to win in 10.02 seconds. He is the second Kenyan to take the title after Serafino Antao in 1962, when the event was still run over 100 yards. South Africa's defending champion Akani Simbini took silver in 10.13 seconds, with Yupon Abeikun from Sri Lanka getting a bronze in 10.14 seconds. And Kenyans are elated to have won Commonwealth gold in the 100 meters after 60 long years.
Hi, my name is Karen Kibet from Kenya, and the atmosphere in the country is carnival, as the 100-meter African champion Ferdinand Omanyala is now the 100-meter Commonwealth champion. We definitely need the day of his arrival back home declared as a public holiday, just for us to celebrate him, as he has brought this medal back home after 60 years. We all know what happened to him in Eugene in the World Athletics Championships. He wasn't able to perform well because he had visa issues, which made him get to the championships late. But that didn't stop him from performing well in the Commonwealth Champions, and we as a country are proud of him. So we congratulate Ferdinand Omanyala for making us seen in the short distance races as a country. Over to you, Merit J and Super FM in Port Harcourt.
Many thanks to Karen Kibet for coming through with that one, one of the finest sports broadcasters in Kenya with the KBC. And now let's proceed for our big discussion this morning. And I'm glad to announce that on the Breakfast Sports, we have been joined by OK Kenneth to get us through our talking point. Good morning to you, Kenneth. Welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Merit. Good morning to the fans of the show.
Now, big issue. I think it's a really big issue when you consider the words of Napoli President Aurelio De Laurentiis. He's come out to basically say that he will not sign African players unless they would agree that not to participate at the AFCON during years where we have the AFCON in between January and February. What do you make of his submission?
A big statement made by the president, De Laurentiis of Napoli. But the sad fact of it is that there seems to be some truth in everything he says. We may want to bash him for being racist in the statements he made, because whether we like it or not, the statements seem to be targeting basically African players, and it is racist in its sense. But is he making a point? Yes, he's making a very valid point. I mean, being a businessman, you get to understand the fact that you cannot pay for a value that cannot be rendered. So if during the AFCON, these players had to go back to their home country to spend 2-3 weeks or probably 1 month while playing or representing their home country in a time which is very critical for most European leagues, you understand that the clubs will be paying their services for services that these players are not offering to the clubs. That's the truth. But the sad part of this whole situation is that he's not to be blamed for making statements like this. It's time we start calling CAF for the mistakes they do. over the years, we've kept on hearing that they want to unify the league with that of Europe and that of South America. Up until now, there is no blueprint of how this unification will be done. There is no blueprint whatsoever. And let nobody come out and say, because during the June-July season, there is heavy rain down here in Africa, mostly the southern and the western and the eastern Africa. Because of that, we cannot host it. That is something I find to be very, very irritating and a big lie. We see football matches whole in Europe, down there in England, even with heavy downpour. Why? Because they have standard facilities. So CAF would have to improve in their inspection of facilities to meet standard and international quality so that we could then join a Confederation of African Football matches we play, the African Cup of Nations, with that of Europe and that of South America, so as for the Football League world to be unified.
Well, it's a big take. So, I mean, from what you've said, you're in favor of moving the AFCON from January or sometime around January, February to the summer, I mean, the European summer in June, July. But, you know, we cannot also dispel the issue of the weather condition. Maybe a bigger discussion for some other days. Now, if you were an African player, hearing this from SS Napoli, likes of Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa, who plays for the Cameroonian national team and also a very important part of the SSA Napoli setup, and Victor Osimhen, Nigeria Super Eagles, Victor Osimhen, in Napoli. Does this make you rethink your stance with the club? You know, we have the AFCON in 2024. Say perhaps your contract expires in 2025. Does it make you, what would you pick? Would you rather play in the AFCON when your mates are playing in the AFCON, or stick with your club side because of what your president has said?
Now, for these players, they already made the name. And the fact that they already made the name gives them a leverage to do what they think is right for them. And if I were Victor Osimhen or Anguissa of Cameroon, I would not be part of that deal. I would want to be part of my country. I would want to make my country proud. I mean, Khalidi Koulibaly, former Napoli player, came out to criticize in strong terms the wordings coming from De Laurentiis. He said it was racist in every nature, in the words of Koulibaly, who has moved to Chelsea recently. Yep. He said it was racist in every nature. That is how he sees that statement. But for Khalidi Koulibaly, he sees that statement from the point of view of an African player who hopes to represent his country and make his country proud. For De Laurentiis, he makes the statement as a businessman who hopes to get the value for the money he's paying at every point in time. So for players like Anguissa and Osimhen, they could decide to dead it, go for the African Cup of Nations, and don't renew their contract with Napoli and move on in life. We know that whether we like it or not, with Osimhen doing 18 goals for them last season, Osimhen will see a top club in Europe that would want to sign him. For Anguissa, he might as well go back to France or any other country. He will see clubs that would want to make him part of their setups because these players have the name for themselves. But these players are not my biggest problem. The biggest problem we will be facing is upcoming African stars who tomorrow wants to make a name for themselves, and Napoli offers you a contract of such. You know that the ideology of playing in Europe, mostly for Africans, is the ideology of making the money. Your country do not pay you as much as the clubs pay you. So a lot of African stars will be in this dilemma in the next few years. A lot of them who feels like, oh, Napoli is coming for me. It's a big club in a big league, and it's a big opportunity for me to play in the European Championship. That's the idea of my country. Let me go and make the money. All After all, it's totally all about making the money and taking care of your family. So that's where the dangers of these statements from De Laurentiis comes in. To be frank, CAF will need to sit up in order for things to work out. There are two things we need to do in Africa for these things not to be a problem. Is either we make our own league here in Africa lucrative, that they will have no choice but to work with us. Okay. Or we have to coincide it with that of the European League so as for everything to work in the good of everybody. All right. If not, trust me, CAF and the African Cup of Nations will be in serious dilemma in the next few years. And this is not the first time this is happening. You remember Sir Alex Ferguson? Yep. He never signed an African player because of this particular dilemma. You remember Jose Mourinho in his first season with Chelsea? He kept on complaining because the bulk of his team we are made up of African players who come back every January, February. He kept on complaining. You saw the Liverpool manager last season. At the point in time, he was feeling like pulling Mohamed Salah out of the African Cup of Nations. It was that deep for him. We saw the issue with Watford and the Nigerian player and the Senegalese player, Sarr. These are issues that will continue until CAF either make leagues across the African continent lucrative for the players to want to stay in Africa and play, which I don't see as being feasible in the next 10 to 15 years. Or they will have to synchronize the African Cup of Nations with both the European calendar and the Southern American calendar.
Really interesting talking points. A lot of discussions and thinking needs to go through this. But thank you so much, OK Kenneth, for joining us on the program this morning.
Well, thank you, Mary. You have to get me a cup of coffee after all of this.
All right. Now to throw the phone lines open, we can squeeze a few calls to hear from you. 0705 079 1021 and 0811-743-1021. Big discussion for CAF, for the players, and also for the European clubs. Well, let us know what you think. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Mary, good morning.
Good morning.
Mohammed Awad, Mary,
yes.
You need to stop this corruption way they do. You go just give us 5 minutes to make that in here. I beg, this corruption needs to stop. Now, what make I call you? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Well, time flies when you're having fun. What can I say? We have a couple of messages from our Facebook, but we'll take a few calls now. Good morning. Welcome to Super Breakfast Sports.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
My name is Miracle.
All right, go ahead, Miracle. Let's hear you.
Coming from Okinawa, Port Harcourt.
Go ahead, please.
Concerning my team, Chelsea. Actually, transfer they are going on. I don't understand my team, Chelsea. I don't really know.
Thank you so much, Miracle. But we're not talking about transfers now. We're talking about the AFCON and African players in Europe. Good morning to you. Welcome to Super Breakfast Sports.
Good morning, Merrick. My name is Okwi Osakwe from Ruomasi.
Good morning, Mr. Okwi. Go ahead.
Yeah, Merrick, I want to agree with the guest on your show this morning about from the angle point of view of a business person. But I disagree with him when he says we should align. Now, even if we align the leagues, it doesn't remove the fact that in January, in June, July, we'll have serious rainfall in Africa.
Yep.
There is no way. The kind of rainfall we experience in Africa is torrential. It's not good for football. There's no way we'll play the CAF, our AFCON during that time of the year. You have to factor in the weather. So it's a whole lot of problem that CAF needs to sit down. They need to sit down and work out how to have this AFCON without going into the bad books of the big European clubs. That's my take this morning. So it's fortunate time will not allow us to dwell more on this issue. But that's my take this morning.
All right, thank you, Mr. Okwi. Good morning to you. Welcome to Super Breakfast Sports. Good morning. All right, we lost that one. Good morning to you. Welcome to Super Breakfast Sports.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Jen.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, this is Mr. Liverpool coming from Moyibu.
Mr. Liverpool, go ahead very quickly.
Well, there's no time, please.
Oh, lost Mr. Liverpool there. I'm sure we'll have a lot of time to talk about this when we return for sports traffic by 5 p.m. But on Facebook, we have Shugu Bebo. He says, if Napoli said they will not sign African players again, let them release the ones they have already. Foster Kari says, Napoli president said from next season, African players would be barred from attending AFCON. Well, that's not actually what he said. Temple Amasin says, Napoli as a case study, why will the timing of AFCON change because of one particular man? Then European Cup and Copa America will also change. Napoli is not the only club in the world of football, so they should go and have a rest. John Legbosi says, racism is the reason for Napoli coach. He said coach, but not the coach, actually, is the president, to come up with this idea. Other of his players not participating in the continent competition, let him release the African players he has already if he is really serious in his rich words. Well, thank you so much for your thoughts, guys, coming from Facebook and also via the phone lines, the couple of calls we could take. We would have a lot of time to talk about this, I'm sure, when we return for sports traffic by 5 p.m. In the meantime, you can continue to enjoy the best broadcasting this part of Nigeria on Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, Nigeria's #1 family lifestyle talk and Oba radio station. Keep listening.
I love this radio station. Keep listening to Super FM.
Faith to Faith broadcast with Pastor T.B. Peters of Renaissance Assembly every Monday to Friday.